Okay guys, what's going on? Alex7 here. Now, yesterday we got some gameplay about Test Drive Unlimited Solo Crown, and I know unfortunately YouTube dealt with it dirty and you saw a very uncompressed 1080p version until the premiere finished, and then you were able to see the 1440p upload, which sucks, I know. However, in this video, I'm just going to clear up your confusions, talk to you about the events, my thoughts on the game, the physics, the map, the TDU core features, what sets it apart from other open world racing games. Let's talk about it right now. Let's get this thing started, guys. Now, before I play this to you guys, I just want to let you know this is captured in-game on an alpha version of TDU SC. Don't forget that. You're going to see some bugs, you're going to see some optimization issues. Does it mean the game's bad, or does it mean the game looks trash? No, it doesn't. Just wait, guys. I'm telling you, there's a lot more you haven't seen in this game. And before I even played the video, parking garages, I've already talked to you guys in the details. You missed the video. These are scattered all across the island. I don't recall if 3 means that there's 3 stories. I think there is multi-story car parks. Don't quote me in that, but I'm really interested to hear more about that feature when the time comes. Let's zoom out though, and let's press play in and listen to this. So a couple things I wanted to mention. You just saw that car kind of body roll like that on suspension. The physics, I promise you guys, you can feel the suspension differently in every single car. That's not some PR talk. That's me honestly playing the game for the very first time. I'll talk about that more later. But indicators on the dashboard, another thing that sets this apart from other games. And on top of that, you heard a noise for them. I'll even rewind it for you. Take a listen. That, my friends, is what a TDU game is all about. We need a driving game in this genre. Racing games, open world, we don't have a driving game on simulated physics. That's what this is, and I'll tell you guys all about the physics later in the video. Let's continue on with this clip. What you're going to notice sometimes though, maybe not here, but when you're driving the vehicle and you're just cruising, the automatic transmission, when you're in automatic, you see the shift actually change based on if you're cruising or not. It'll do low RPM shifts if you're cruising, or if you just want to race and you're flooring it, it will shift at the optimum RPM. That, my friends, is what TDU is all about. But let's show you my favorite clip. This screams TDU. You're looking at the longest tunnel in an open world racing game ever. The music on the radios, which I'll talk to you guys also in this, are very good. Again, nothing's finished, guys. This game still needs work, but it is very, very promising. I'm not gonna sit here and tell you otherwise. And I have to rewind this because I need you guys to understand how TDU this is. Listen. And please, again, alpha version. I also want to point out on the hood, this is the hood view, you can see some of the detail of the actual intake moving. Look. And this song's a banger. But this, oh my god, I really do hope YouTube copyright doesn't get me for this. Welcome to the other side of the island, guys, off-roading. It is, come on. If you played WC and you expected KT to have WC Generations looks in this game, you would be surprised. Another thing, and again, I'll replay all of this for you so you can hear the actual raw sounds. This truck is going down a path that's not even on the map. I would say this game has a lot more than 600 kilometers of road that you can find. And the funny thing is, you drive down some of these routes and you will find small villages where you have ambient sounds playing. And I'm going to talk about all this again later on in the video too, because there's a lot of details I can tell you guys, and there's a lot of details you'll learn about in my developer interviews tomorrow. Let's continue on. And before I show you this clip, which I think all of you guys are waiting for, let's rewind it and let me show you some raw gameplay of that Ford Raptor. And live, I actually have to take you back here because this part is my favorite. Okay, so now you guys seen this, let's take a look at this, my friends. Welcome to none other than something that no other game has. We have to zoom in here because there is a lot. First off, headlights, windshield wipers, you also have right turn signal, hazard lights, roof on cars that have animations. Guys, I have seen some cars with soft top roofs folding and it looks really good. Left turn signal, windows and headlights, and again there's other wheels you can use on this, but I do want to mention there's room for one more. And Kiloton, again guys, when I first saw the game, I'm not gonna lie to you, there are some things that I said, you know what, I think KT has to improve on this. I don't think this game is perfect. There is work to be done. There are things that they should add to this game to improve the immersion and make it more of a TDU game. Engine on and off option, we need to see that on this wheel KT. We have to. I think a lot of you guys would agree with me as well. Let's zoom out though, press play and continue on this video. Again, you're going to see some, like the traffic there. You're going to see some issues. Let's move on though. Listen to this car sound. That's why I'm showing this to you, because KT, we're never really good at sounds. You need to listen and hear that pop. I mean, come on. If you expected, listen, WC Generations wasn't really, I'm gonna tell you, WC Generations, the sound in KT's last game, it was decent. It wasn't the best. There was definitely a lot of room for improvements, but you know, it wasn't there. TDUSC, I was surprised. And it's not just this car that sounds good. The GTR, I'm really hoping I can get some raw gameplay footage of it. That idle sound of the GTR and that sound of it in general might be the most accurate and best sounding GTR in an open world racing game, guys. But let's continue on throughout this video. By the way, another thing I want to mention is that tire textures, new change. Slicks or off-road tires, the texture on the tires actually changed. Not that many other racing games, specifically open world racing games, can relate to that. If you change the tire type, the actual texture doesn't change. That's the details that made TDU different from other games. Another thing I want to point out, while you're driving around all over the city, you're gonna see little places like this, you know, on this side as well. But one thing I want to mention is that as you drive around, you will hear little shops and restaurants playing certain little music throughout the island. And it's not just that, you know, you go to a different village and you hear all these different ambient sounds. You go over to the city, it's totally different. You go over to another part of the island, you know, you go to the forest, you go to the off-road routes. Everywhere of the island sounds different, and that's key to the immersion and actually, you know, making this a great driving game at its core. Let's take a look at the chat wheel menu. So the next one we have is social. Again, everything here is most likely not going to be final, guys. You're looking at an alpha build of the game. You have mute player because yes, there is voice chat in the game. There's 3 channels. If you saw it in the gameplay reveal, there's obviously one for your group when you're in groups, then there's one for the actual like lobby, then there's one for just muting yourself, because at the end of the day you don't want to hear someone driving past you blasting music. Although I'm not gonna lie to you, proximity chat, I'm not sure if that's in the game, but KT, proximity chat would be a very great way to also leverage your game as being unique from other open world racing games. Very nice. You have send friend requests, invite to group, leave group, etc. This is the quick chat wheel. So hi, wait, yes, on my way, thanks, follow me, no, instant challenge. So you know, instant challenges is just like TDU2, where you can also wager a money amount against the other player. But it's worth noting that it does pop up on the screen right here when you use the quick chat. I do hope there's text chat. I'm not gonna tell you guys if it's confirmed or not already, I'm not sure, but text chat has to happen in the game because maybe, you know, being honest, you can't hear and you want to be able to text people, or you're like me, sometimes I just want to leave my mic on mute. I would just want to be able to bring on my keyboard, type saying, yo, what are you saying? You know, be able to say things that are other than this text chat wheel, because the interaction of TDU is also as important. Moving on, you're gonna see this, the radio. This is very important, guys. You guys have been complaining about soundtracks in game. There's not a chance you could complain about the soundtrack in this game. Hip Hop Planet, Absolute Club, Indie Rock, Classic Era, World Music, Retro FM. I'm going to be playing some of this for you guys in this video, but I want to mention that each radio station is 10 hours of content on each. Yes, 10 hours on each radio station, and each one comes with its own ads and its own lore. You're gonna hear about this throughout the game. That is a ton of music, guys, and it's impressive. Again, not 10 hours total, 10 hours each. I couldn't believe it. That's a ton of music. Let's press play though and continue on this beautiful video. And here's one of the songs. And of course, classical music. You cannot tell me this does not scream TDU. And we have to rewind it again. Did you guys catch that body roll? I cannot explain it to you, but the physics, the suspension feel is incredible. It's unlike any other racing game, open world racing game out at the moment. I mean, come on. Again, you're looking at an alpha version of the game, guys. There's a lot of work to be done, but there's potential. There's a lot of potential there. Also, listen to this. Here's just a sneak peek of the radio ad.
Buckle in, because you'll need a restraint when you hear the next song.
I cannot wait to hear these radio stations in action, but now let's talk about my thoughts on the game entirely. So first thing I want to say is I apologize for crashing a lot. You guys have to understand that yes, when you first play an open world racing game for the very first time with physics that aren't like any other game out, that are also on alpha stage, they're not finished, and of course all these other things on top, you're gonna end up crashing here and there, and I apologize. You know, that's not very TDU as people would say, but nonetheless, I'm pretty sure Nakon and Kitty are getting your guys' feedback, and I'd really love to see, for whatever's gonna happen next, having people on wheel showing the just cruising aspect, just people cruising in this game, you know, showing the dealerships, because I've seen the dealerships, guys, and I've bought a car. That buying experience is just like TD2, and even the workshop, the paint options you can have in there are pretty good. And not just that, when you're in the workshop, and you'll learn this in my dev interview tomorrow, you can see other people doing their liveries live. So if someone's making a livery and it looks crazy, you will see them move all the paint and stickers on the car live in real time. That's what you see in the workshop. That's a total revamp from what tuning shops and the paint shop in TD2 was. And I've also seen tuning your car. When you tune your car in Test Drive Unlimited 2, although again other games do have this, to be fair, the sound of it changes. That's just again higher detail, but you've heard the sounds in Test Drive Unlimited Solar Crown. You guys haven't even heard the rest of it. There's a lot more detail in this game that I can't wait for you guys to see, hopefully sooner rather than later. But let's get some structure in this video. First, I'm going to talk about the graphics, then the map, then the physics, then the sounds in total, then the car features, and then the car list, and then if it's a TDU game. So let's start off with the graphics. I get you guys. The first premiere on YouTube didn't look good, and I agree with you. I was considering, why would YouTube do this? The YouTube's premiere thing is kind of silly. I really don't understand how it works. It shows things in 1080p even though it's not uploaded in 1080p, just because of that stupid 10-second countdown that YouTube has for its premiere. Anyways, regarding all that, let's be honest, this is not a PS3 game. If you guys really want to see change happen in games, you have to give constructive criticism. If I'm a developer and the first thing I see after working 5 years on a TDU game and people see it for the first time and I see someone say, bro, this game looks like a PS3 game. I see a lot of people saying that. Bro, I would be pissed because it doesn't look like a PS3 game. Even if it does, guys, who cares, bro? Since when was graphics the core momentum of a game? Gameplay should be the main momentum of a game. I get it, Forza Horizon 5 has incredible graphics, but I've shown you some alpha footage, which to be honest, at some times is technically looking on par of Forza Horizon 5. I've seen this game at 4K 30. I was shocked. The KT engine, if you've seen WC Generations, it is a massive step up. And this is again all a smaller budget. They don't have EA money. They don't have Microsoft money. They don't have Microsoft tech or EA tech or Ubisoft tech. They're making this from scratch and they've done an impressive job. They've listened to us and they're not there yet, but they can easily get there with your guys' help, you know, feedbacking on the game, making this, because at the end of the day, guys, I'm not gonna be doing YouTube videos forever. I'm trying to be old, you know, sign off on some planes, you know, get back home after I do some grocery shopping, sit back on my couch with a can of beer and be like, okay, let me go play my favorite driving game. And then on weekends, you know, hop on my sim rig and enjoy driving on a wheel with friends. That's all I'm trying to see. And honestly, after seeing this game, it can get there, and I cannot wait for it to get there if KT just casts the stick to their focus, and I'm sure they can do that. And of course, us, the community, are also responsible in doing that by giving them constructive feedback, which by the way, join the TDUSC Discord because they just posted this. So if you ever want to give some feedback on what you saw so far, feel free to, because I think it's important too. We need to get feedback into them, constructive feedback, so they know what to do, they know what to fix. They're gonna impress you every time you see the game again and again, guys. You're gonna be impressed, and I can't wait for that to happen. But anyways, above all that, let's talk about the map. If you watch my videos from time, you already know Hong Kong Island is going to be a really good map. Let's take a look at the footage again really quick though. I'm telling you, it is the densest map you're ever going to see, the most varied terrain you're ever going to see. I mean, looking at this still image, you can literally see a ton of varying terrain. And not just that, there is a screenshot. If I go here, look how varying the terrain is. I mean, this is the map you guys have been asking for literally always. You have all been asking for a very dense city. You've all been asking for very good off-roading. This game has honestly one of the best off-roading I've had and seen in a game ever, and that's because KT are expertise in off-roading. They've had a damn WC license for the past 6 years. I really hope they're good at off-roading. And even looking here, you can see some of the fishing villages that I was just explaining, except there are more ones that are more dense. And again, you're gonna see some popping. This is all captured in-game on an alpha version of the game. And like I said, the map's not even finished, guys. They're still adding details every now and then, because another key thing about this is that traffic changes on density based on what part of the island you're in any time of day. So if it's day, you're gonna see some rush hour in the afternoon, and when it's night, you're not gonna see that much traffic. I've seen this game at probably a lot more traffic that you've seen in the gameplay reveal, and traffic's not done yet, weaving in between traffic, and that's why the lanes are pretty large on I won't even say pretty large compared to other games, but that's why the lanes on the highway are larger than usual, but in the city they get smaller, and even in the villages they're even tighter. In the alleyways they're even smaller. This game is really impressive in terms of its map. But now let's talk about the physics. I think everyone's trying to hear me talk about this, and I was lucky enough to even go to the racetrack that is found in this game, and even driving on the curbs, you can really feel each and every bump, those small pivots in the ground through the suspension of the vehicle. And every car did feel different. That's not no PR talk, you know. I drove the Alpine A1110 as well. It drives a lot differently. It drives like a mid-engine car. The Mustang, just like all Mustangs, they drive like pedestrian killers. I mean, granted, luckily there's no pedestrians there, but in all seriousness, the weight of the car is very well felt in this game. And I understand it may not look like it, but you guys have to understand, you know, it was our first time playing the game on vehicles we didn't get to practice on. The whole point of the event was to show you guys the game's not done, but it's fun and it's playable. That's the stage we're at, and honestly, not just me, but Theo and even Alan, Team PVV, had fun playing the game, and there's a lot of potential here. It surprised us, some potential, and it can be the game that we want it to be. We just have to wait and let KT keep working on it. And of course, as I told you guys, the physics isn't done. Some of you guys may have noticed that in the gameplay reveal, there was some understeering at low speeds, and I can tell you exactly why. At the moment, the physics is set up for two things. That's drifting, and that's also low speed driving. Now the reason for that is when you're making a game, you have to set up the physics for different speeds to make it feel good at all points. You want it to feel good, just as good when you're going slowly and just as good as you're going fast. Top speed physics is really good. The only thing I will admit, the controller is a bit twitchy at the moment, but just like all games, this is an alpha build. The wheel, however, I've heard extremely great things, and if you are a wheel fan, if you're a TD1 hardcore mode fan, I promise you this is something that you do not want to miss. And I'm sure, hopefully, if you guys get into the beta, which was revealed today, sign up, just go to the website, sign up. You will be able to understand that what I'm saying isn't all cap. I'm not just saying this to say this, guys. If you play the game for yourself, you're probably gonna have some of the same opinions as me. But going back to the physics, the understeering is happening because the front longitudinal and latitudinal grip hasn't been set up yet. So at low speeds, the car will understeer and the turning angle won't be as great. And you have to remember that the goal of this whole event was to show you guys that the game exists. The game's there, it's fun, and it's looking promising. But I must admit, at the event we did 2 takes, and I also drove a C701 Corvette. As you guys know, I drove that car the first time with 0 assists, and let me tell you, one thing I did notice, it took me a while on controller to get this car to do donuts, but once you get it right, it is the most rewarding experience I could ever explain. And that is exactly what I've been waiting for in the game. TDU should also be, challenging. Don't numb this game down. Give us a proper simcade game, and that's what they're aiming for, guys. Don't get me wrong, the physics are, to be fair, still going to be accessible to people, but at the same time, it's going to be a very rewarding experience. And again, when you guys try the game for yourself, you'll understand that, and hopefully maybe I'll be able to show you guys more about the game at a later date. But to sum it all down, if you like playing TD1 hardcore mode on wheel or even on controller, which is a little bit harder, this game is for you. It's kind of like TD1 hardcore mode, but I'd love to say that, especially on controller, it feels a lot more natural to play, and on wheel, I'm telling you guys, I really hope if there is a second TDU Connect, I would love to be on a wheel and show you guys what that looks like. It is like no other open world racing game right now. It is a proper TDU cruising driving game. So of course, back to sounds. You guys heard some of the sounds. Again, sounds was never really KT's strong suit. However, I remember just sitting in the C7, hearing Theo's GTR idle. I really hope I can get some raw gameplay of that, and so I can show you guys. It sounds incredible, and some parts of the stream you were able to hear that. I do wish that the stream audio, the actual vehicle audio, was turned up a bit. YouTube's kind of weird when you have multi-track videos. Sometimes the actual audio levels won't be the same in Adobe Premiere Pro as it is as you play on YouTube. Don't know why, it is kind of weird, but nonetheless, I was very happy to show you guys what the C7 Corvette sounded like. And I've tried a ton of other vehicles in this game, guys. I'd like to point out the sound design seems to be more raw compared to other games. It's a lot more realistic sounding compared to other games, and I love that. Let's go on to car features. Now, one thing I want to mention is that when you stop the car for a long period of time, the parking brake will come on, and also the hazard lights will come on automatically. That's a pretty nice detailed feature that happens in the game. But some things I do want to point out that I'd love to see is, like TD2, I would love to see the map show up on the infotainment screen. Now, for vehicles like the GTR, it's using a different screen. It's using the actual GTR screen, but for the C7 Corvette, there's nothing there. It's just a black screen. Please, KT, for vehicles that don't have this, just like the C7 Corvette, throw in some infotainment GPS on the dashboard, just like TDU2. That's what we all want, because I would love to just sit down, turn off all of the UI in this game, and go for a drive and cruise, because that's what TDU at the end of the day is. It's a nice driving game. That's what we need. It's also why I go back to TD2 all the time. It's also why I go back to TD1 and not these other open world racing games, because on wheel, there's not that many good driving games, especially with simcade physics. So this game really has the potential to tap into that market that has never really been explored. While I'm making this video, I want to mention, KT, please give us a proper simulated clutch. I want to be able to stall the vehicle. I want to be able to turn it on with that same feature that I just mentioned. I want to see engine start stop. After I saw the vehicle, turn it back on, just like Test Drive Unlimited 1. And another thing that Test Drive Unlimited 1 did was when you switched cars, it automatically changed to whatever gearbox that vehicle had. If you're driving a Gallardo, Well, guess what? You use the paddle shifters on your wheel. If you go ahead and switch to a WRX that's using an H shifter pattern, it automatically does that for you. You use your H shifter and you can stall the vehicle. That is very key. We need that level of immersion in TDUSC. And as for the car list, I can't really talk much about the car list because I've already told you guys what's confirmed so far. I have seen pretty much the full list, and it's solid. So far, it's pretty damn solid. And of course, just like all other racing games, post-launch, there's definitely going to be times for that. And you'll learn about some little hints about post-launch in my interview tomorrow as well with Sir Alan Jarnu. Now, last but not least, I want to talk to you guys about, is this a TDU game? I'm going to try and wrap this up quick because I've probably been talking for a very long time. Now, the short answer is yes. Guys, I played this whole game. The progression is there. It is a TDU progression game. It's nothing like Forza Horizon at all. It's nothing like Motorfest at all. It's just like a TDU game, and I think you guys are going to enjoy that. Another thing that I've been hearing a lot is people calling this game a clone. Listen, the racing game community, I understand you guys. You know, you see another game come out of nowhere and you see the UI look similar to Forza Horizon, the speedometer specifically. That doesn't make it a clone, guys. There's only so many different variations of something you can make before it gets similar. Speed traps, for example, just because you saw speed traps in this game does not make it a clone. Dealerships, this is something that I think you guys may have seen the game to reveal, but you didn't know that we had newsletters prior to it. There are dealerships in this game, many of them scattered all across the island, and that buying experience, as I've said, I have gone to a dealership. The Ferrari and Lamborghini ones, oh my god, they look nice. They look nice, but the specking, the actual spec options is a lot more improved compared to Test Drive Unlimited 2. And that's what I like about this game. Every feature from TD2, if it's brought from TD2 or TD1 into TDUSC, they've improved upon it. Just like radios, we got 2 radio stations with probably half an hour each of radio music. In TDUSC, you had 10 hours on each station. I didn't even believe it. Honestly, because that's unheard of, guys. And as I said earlier in the video, you guys will be able to see people walking around in their workshops working on their own liveries in the game. This is something that was massively improved. It combined the paint shops and the tuning shops from TD2 into one and created this massive social space. And of course, you'll even be able to use voice chat or text chat, talk to people about tuning cars, you know, ask them, hey, if I do this to my car, will this help? This is what this game is built on, this social aspect. Something that Forza Horizon you can't really do is, you know, if you want to search for a tune or learn about something, you kind of just have to look for a tune and then call it a day. Here, if you see someone with the same car tuning it, you can generally go up to them and be like, hey, I have a question. I want to be better at drifting. What can I do to my car to make that happen? And they could text you in text chat and be like, hey, you know, XXY, this is how you do it. That is definitely something that sets itself apart from other open world racing games, guys. This game, I've told you, I've played it. It is nothing like Forza Horizon. It is nothing like The Crew. It is nothing like Need for Speed, guys. Just because it's based on Hong Kong Island with neon lights doesn't make it a Need for Speed game. That's not how making games works, guys. That's not how judging games works. This game has potential. And of course, you don't have to take my word for that. You can believe I'm lying this whole time throughout this entire video and say this game's still gonna be ass. That's fine. But I enjoyed the event though. Hopefully some of you guys did enjoy it. I did see a lot of you guys enjoyed it, you know. Thank you for all the support you guys have given me to be able to even go to an event like this. But I just want to let you guys know, I did not waste my time twiddling my thumbs at this event. I read a ton of comments from people on my YouTube channel, give me feedback about TDUC, even the TDU1 fans, because they were ignored for TDU2. I'm not trying to see that happen again. TDU2 kind of failed on that mark. But if you listen to the TD2 community, the TD1 community, and throw in a little bit of the majority, we could get a proper driving game. And that's all I want to see, guys. Let me know your thoughts though in the comment section below. You already know what it is, guys. And if you do want to see just the raw gameplay, you don't even want to see my face, I'll leave that down in the comment section below if you guys want to check out. Because at the end of the day, you guys don't want to see me. That's why I made a clip channel. Show you guys the game in just clips, you know, a high quality clip channel. I should add at that. Anyways, you guys already know what it is. I'm Alex7. I'll see you in another video. I'm out, guys. Peace.